The man was about to take his dog outside to the bathroom, but as soon as he went downstairs, two thugs blocked his way. Completely unprepared, the man was quickly subdued by them. They not only stole his beloved car, but even killed his dog right in front of him. When John woke up, his dog had already gone to heaven, but John said nothing. He silently buried the dog that had always been by his side, then wordlessly began to clean the house. In his mind, certain memories started flashing back. He slowly raised his head, his eyes turning sharp and deadly. On the other side, the father of the thug, after hearing from his men what his son had done, felt his whole body turn cold. He immediately called his useless son back and beat him harshly the moment he walked in.
What did I do?
Give me the radios. So I stole a fucking car.
Oh, fuck, Viggo!
Right, you stay. It's not what you did, son. It angers me, son. It's who you did it to.
Who? The fucking nobody?
That fucking nobody is John Wick.
It turned out John was once a top assassin. Anyone marked by him had no choice but to face death.
I once saw him kill 3 men in a bar with a bouncer.
But this cold and ruthless killer one day met the love of his life. For her, he completed a nearly impossible task and successfully retired from the world of killers. But Johnny's unlucky son Jack not only stole John's car, but also killed the dog left behind by John's late wife.
Father, I can make this right.
Oh, how do you plan that?
I'm finishing what I started.
I didn't hear a fucking word I said.
Seeing his ignorant son still dreaming of going after John, Johnny kicked him out of the house, then opened a secret safe and took out an old phone book. Soon he found John's number and called, but drowning in grief, John didn't want to hear Johnny's false pleasantries. He hung up directly, and Johnny realized this matter could never be resolved peacefully.
Enough. Task and crew. How many do you have?
After cleaning the house, John took a cold shower, then put on his long-sealed bulletproof suit. Luckily, even after years of retirement, his figure hadn't changed. The suit that once accompanied him in battle still fit perfectly. As night fell, the sound of footsteps echoed in John's yard. A squad of well-trained killers began approaching the house. Hearing the movement, John calmly picked up his pistol and turned off all the lights. This silent house was about to become John's merciless killing ground. With the last gunshot, the first wave of intruders was effortlessly wiped out by John. But soon after, the second wave entered. John hid quietly in the dark, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Very soon, all of Johnny's elite killers were dead at John's hands. When Johnny heard the news, he seemed to age instantly. He immediately placed a $2 million bounty on John, then ordered his butler to take his son back to the family's bar, and gathered all his men to lie in wait there. For extra security, Johnny personally went to a legendary sniper, asking him to come out and kill John. Although Marcus was John's close friend, the arrogant Johnny believed no one could refuse $2 million, and just as he expected, after Johnny left, Marcus began preparing his gear. Meanwhile, as Marcus packed, John had already arrived at a downtown hotel. This hotel was called the Continental, a facility built exclusively for assassins. No matter who was hunting you, no matter what crimes you had committed, once you stepped inside this hotel, you had to put down your weapons and keep the peace. Otherwise, the hotel itself would execute you. Because of this rule, after hearing about the bounty on his head, John came here to rest temporarily. Soon he found the hotel owner and began asking about Johnny's movements. At the same time, when Johnny learned John had hidden inside the Continental, he immediately doubled the bounty. Inside the hotel, after gathering intel, John returned to his room and prepared his weapons. This time leaving home, he brought every gun he owned. He wore his bulletproof vest, strapped weapons to his waist, and hid a knife inside his shoe. Then he went straight to Jack's hideout. At that moment, Jack was still lost in wine and women, completely unaware that deadly danger was already closing in.
The man was only complaining a little during the traffic jam. Unexpectedly, a man suddenly jumped out of the car ahead. And at the same time, another premeditated assassination was unfolding in a different city. Completely unaware, Jack was still at home, accompanying his pregnant wife, with no idea the nightmare was about to arrive. Not wanting to disturb her rest, he slept on the sofa downstairs as usual. Immersed in his music, Jack didn't notice at all a group of men in black approaching his house. With the help of night vision, they quickly cut off the power to the villa. At first, Jack didn't think much of it, but the strange quiet footsteps upstairs immediately made him alert. He quickly took out the pistol from the cabinet and carefully moved toward the second floor. By now the killers had already slipped into the bedroom. They poured bullets into the bed without hesitation. After confirming the target was eliminated, one killer even asked his partner to kill him, but what they never expected was that their target was actually right behind them. Jack struck first, taking down the enemy in the hallway. After a finishing shot, he stared warily at the stairs leading to the third floor. Sure enough, hearing the noise, more killers rushed down. After killing the one on the stairs, a deep sense of dread welled up in Jack's heart, but just as he started up the stairs, he suddenly faced a killer coming out of the bedroom. Both men were badly wounded, but Jack still managed to see his face. The killer still wanted to continue his mission, but his gun was already out of bullets. Hearing the police sirens outside, he dragged his broken body and escaped. At that moment, Jack already realized his wife must have met a tragic fate, but gravely injured, he could only watch helplessly as his enemy left. With all his strength, he finally crawled into the bedroom, but the scene before his eyes brought him unbearable pain. Soon the arriving police rushed Jack to the hospital. Now he was riddled with bullet wounds, his life hanging by a thread. This case skipped the police entirely, and was taken over directly by the military. In the past 24 hours, Jack's SEAL Special Unit had already suffered 2 deaths and 1 injury, including him. To prevent more casualties, the rest of the unit members had their leave cancels, and were placed under military protection. It was clearly an organized act of revenge. CIA operative Reed immediately assumed that the team must have been involved in illegal activities, which led to retaliation from a crime syndicate. This remark infuriated the team's commander, Lisa. She blocked Reed at once and argued with him. Lisa's powerful aura instantly shut him down, and he dared not say another word. Months later, the gravely injured Jack finally woke from his hospital bed. His first words were asking about his wife and their unborn child. Seeing Lisa's heavy expression, Jack felt unbearable grief. He suffered knowing that as a soldier who defended his country, he hadn't even been able to protect his own family. He immediately asked Lisa about the mastermind, but she said the attackers were professionals, and they hadn't found any leads. Wanting to avenge his wife with his own hands, Jack trained daily with extreme intensity. Meanwhile, Lisa received the CIA's investigation report. It turned out that before Jack's leave during their mission, they had accidentally killed the son of the Russian FSB director. These attacks were the enemy's revenge, but Reed insisted that since both sides had losses, it should be considered settled. Digging further would only bring trouble. Handled poorly, it could even cause a diplomatic crisis. Hearing this, Lisa's superior had nothing to say. After all, this time the fault did lie with them. Lisa knew Jack never gave up his obsession with revenge, but orders were orders. She could not reveal the intel to him. Yet, looking at Jack's silent, broken state, Lisa ignored the risk of a court-martial and handed him the information. The man in the photo was the overall commander of these operations. All the killers' passports had been arranged through him. Hearing this, Jack's mind immediately formed a complete plan for revenge. The man had a special habit whenever he stayed in a hotel. He would first scatter glass marbles across the doorway, then hang a "Do Not Disturb" sign. Next he would attach a bomb fuse to the door. After that he would flip the switch, walk over to the balcony, and check his escape rope. As a hitman who had assassinated over 100 people, he never allowed himself to slack off. This time his target was the president of the country, but this mission was unusually dangerous. His employer had specifically requested that Jack eliminate the president in a public setting. Although the difficulty had increased significantly, for Jack this was no problem. Soon the president's speech event was about to begin. The streets were packed with crowds waiting to see the president. As the president waved, a reporter suddenly blocked his path. While the president eagerly described his grand blueprint, little did he know that the Grim Reaper's eyes were already on him, a kilometer away at an abandoned factory. Having completed the mission, Jack hurried to the train station. He immediately opened his laptop in the waiting hall. It turned out that a woman had witnessed the entire assassination, and more urgently, Interpol had already sent people to contact her. The organization ordered Jack to eliminate this witness immediately. Jack agreed on the surface, but deep inside he was puzzled. As a top hitman, he had no recollection of this woman. His memory was sharp enough that he never forgot any passerby, but an order was an order. Upon seeing the target, Jack immediately placed his hand on his gun, but when the woman turned around, Jack was certain she hadn't seen him. Her eyes were filled with wariness toward a stranger. Not the shock and fear someone would have if they had witnessed an assassination. Before Jack could think further, an unlucky passerby took a bullet for him. Seeing the man's shiny bald head, Jack instantly realized that the organization wanted to kill witnesses. Luckily, the bustling street became his natural cover. The organization immediately activated their backup plan. They leaked Jack's whereabouts to Interpol. Back at the hotel, Jack demanded his contact pay the remaining fee, but the contact refused to never be intimidated by an assassination attempt. Jack immediately realized something was wrong. He demanded to know who the employer really was, but his contact remained silent. Ignoring the surprised stares of the kids, he quickly ran to the corridor's ice machine. He pulled out 2 pistols. After dealing with the special forces, Jack's position was exposed to the police. He immediately pried open the elevator doors, smashing the nearby fire alarm, and jumped inside. To his surprise, the elevator was packed with special police. He quickly drew his gun and launched a surprise attack. After taking out all the officers, he immediately pressed the button for the first floor. Then, using the bodies as cover, the other side, Interpol quickly realized the elevator was a diversion. They ran to the upper floors. Meanwhile, Jack rushed toward the stairs, gasping for breath. The Interpol agent finally saw the assassin he had been hunting for so long. Just then, a hotel worker suddenly walked out of a room. Seeing this, Jack immediately dashed down a nearby hallway. He kicked open a room door, rushed inside, and ran toward the balcony. Then, with one swift leap, he jumped into the river. Once again, Jack managed to escape from Interpol. After climbing out of the river, Jack was furious. Soaked to the bone, he walked into a clothing store. After changing into a new outfit, he stormed out, determined to uncover the truth and eliminate anyone who had betrayed him.
What's the best way to assassinate someone? Make it look like an accident. The mafia boss, after spending the whole day on edge, finally returned to his steel fortress. But just as he slipped into the pool to relax, he suddenly spotted his beloved watch at the bottom. Yet he clearly remembered leaving it on his nightstand when he came home. Full of doubt, he dove down in one swift motion, but just as he reached out for it, a human face appeared before his eyes. In the dark water, no amount of struggling could save him. Soon the mafia boss floated lifelessly to the surface. This strange sight immediately caught the guard's attention, but moments later, the boss seemed to swim again. The guard relaxed and continued patrolling. In truth, it was the assassin moving the corpse's arm. Using the body as cover, he slid toward the edge of the pool. Once there, he quickly began his escape. He pulled out his hidden bag, peeled off his wetsuit, and prepared to change clothes to slip out. Just then, a maid noticed the boss wasn't moving. She rushed forward to check on him. Her sharp scream instantly alerted every guard. The villa was locked down in seconds. Everyone ran toward the noise, but once they were gone, the assassin calmly stepped out from the storage room. While the guards were distracted, he quietly slipped through the stairwell into the kitchen. Dressed in the butler's uniform, he blended in with the curious servants. He silently walked out the back door. Then he stripped off his jacket, checked the exact time, and sprinted toward the shore. According to his perfect calculation, he boarded the waiting boat right on time. He escaped without drawing a single suspicion. This was the skill of a top-tier assassin, known in the underworld as the Mechanic. Yet even a killer of his caliber was forced into this mission under threat. Not long ago, while enjoying his quiet retirement, Arthur was approached by a mysterious woman. She bluntly said her boss wanted him to take down 3 people, and each death had to look like an accident. If he refused, she would expose the truth about his fake death. Following her gaze, Arthur saw himself surrounded by armed men. But as a top assassin, he had no fear of these small fry. With a cold, disdainful look, he snapped a photo of the woman with his phone. Then he struck, pinning her down before she could draw her gun. Mocking her overconfidence, he put her to sleep in seconds. He flipped a table to block the rushing thugs and took them out one by one. Through the security feed, he saw more men coming his way. Arthur didn't bother to waste time. He vaulted from a high platform, disappearing from sight. The woman and her men chased after him, racing toward the cable cars. But after searching the area, they found no trace of him. Just as she frowned in confusion, she heard footsteps above her. Arthur was clinging to the roof of a cable car. Then he spotted a glider flying past in the distance. That was his way out. With a running leap, he dodged her gunfire and soared into the sky. Riding the glider, he slipped from their encirclement. Back at his safe house, Arthur connected his phone to the computer and began searching for the woman's identity. He was no man's pawn. If someone dared to threaten him, he would strike back. Soon he uncovered her boss, an arms dealer named Jack. Arthur had crossed paths with him before. He knew Jack was far too dangerous to provoke, so he quickly packed ready to disappear. But it was already too late. When Arthur reached a tropical island to flee with his girlfriend, corrupt cops on Jack's payroll were waiting. They seized his girlfriend at once. Arthur fought fiercely, but the police dragged her away. Helpless as she was taken, Arthur stopped resisting. He agreed to meet with Jack at Jack's heavily guarded compound. Every guard knew Arthur's reputation. They stripped him of everything, even wiring his chair with a pressure bomb. If he dared to stand up, he'd be blown to pieces. Only after making sure he was contained did Jack finally step forward. Straight to the point, Jack demanded Arthur kill 3 men. Each one had to die in an accident. As leverage, he promised Arthur a phone call with his girlfriend after every kill. For her sake, Arthur had no choice but to obey. His first target, an arms dealer named Max. He was locked in a prison built on an island 100 kilometers from shore. Sharks infested the waters. Private guards patrolled the grounds. The prison sat on 100-meter cliffs. Even if Arthur killed the man, how could he ever escape? Faced with such a challenge, what kind of plan would Arthur devise?